Come walk with me. Join me on this walk in the woods for the first Rich Walks and Talks. It was going to be me giving this walk and talk, but Benji wants to join in every now and then, so here you go. Is that a little story to start with? Who knows what he's saying? I don't know. Anyway, this is the first Walks and Talks with Rich. My unique take on sharing my message and bringing you on a journey with me as I start to uncover myself, my mind, my emotions, my spiritual connection with something far more powerful than I could ever comprehend. And it's going to be a series of walks and talks, mostly in nature. And we're going to explore some different ideas, some different concepts. The little boo might join me on some or all of them. We'll see. And this first one, I haven't planned it. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. I don't really know what I'm going to share. But I'm just going to see what comes up as I walk along this path. The first thing I want to mention is it's a Thursday. It's 2 p.m. I had a dream 5 years ago of not going back to work in the afternoon and instead doing something I wanted to do, like going for a walk. And in that dream, I used to look at people walking around if I ever went outside, and I'd think, why are they able to not be at a desk in the morning or in the evening or whenever? Why are they in casual clothes? What do they do? I wanted to take a survey of all the people to find out what they did, because I was never happy sitting at a desk and just plodding along with this work. And I think to myself sometimes, do I really want to be here? Do I really want to be sitting in front of this screen for the rest of my life and eventually work my way up the corporate ladder so I can be in the shoes of my seniors? And it didn't inspire me. It didn't quite do anything for me. I was pretty unenamored by it. I had an itch, a little itch for doing something else. And that little itch started to get scratched when I did my first business, which is a Thai triangle business. A Thai pillow. Some of you might have seen them. They're a little triangular pyramid with a flat seat that you can sit down. You see them all over in Thailand. And I had the idea that those would be great for in the living room, in your bedroom, going out to the park. So I designed them. I built them in with a strap so you could walk with them easily. And I didn't want to look at all of the warning signs because at the time I was very much in a rebellious stage against my parents, but not in the traditional sense of rebelling, of going against what they say and creating a scene. But inside me there was something which, when they gave me advice, I would reject it straight away, no matter what it was, because of the fact that I didn't ask for advice. There would be some diamonds in the rough. One of those diamonds was the flame safety of these pillows. And I'd seen them in many shops in the UK. I'd seen them in many households. The insides are typically made of K-pop, which is a very hypoallergenic fiber from a tree, which actually absorbs moisture, reduces odor, and is perfect for something that you're going to sit on and maybe sweat on. And I knew that this might have been the thing. Anyway, cut a long story short, I ended up disposing of all the pillows that I bought. I'd shipped over a container load and I ended up destroying them. That was a great lesson for me. I had a lot of great lessons about how to import and ship products from overseas and how to do the process of finding a supplier, visiting them, ordering product, and along the way, living what I'm calling now the rich life, which involves flights to Thailand and research and development, to go to bars and restaurants, to see these things in action, visit some friends out there, and really blend work and life to the degree that I was sitting on the beach one day, building my website, and I had that flash of, I'm living this life. I'm living this nomad life that I've wanted for a while. But I still had a layer of anxiety and worry. There was a tension, there was a fear, there was a worry. I now today understand that worry is linked to my ego, being afraid of stepping out into my own direction and losing the love of the people who are very close to me. And that manifests in different ways, like grinding my teeth and ingrown toenails, which I finally dealt with. Bit gross, but I've had ingrown toenails for like 5 years. Haven't dealt with it until a month ago, when I finally started taking better self-care of myself. And I'm really grateful. You've only got one body. It's great to take care of it. Anywho, that was my first business, which went up in flames, excuse the pun. Didn't actually, but it did, and I drew a line in the sand. My parents and my brother had invested in it. I didn't have any money at the time, because actually when I left the bank, I left before the 12 months were up. I left in 9 months, and I had to give back my signing on bonus. I had to pay the bank money to leave. I could have stayed on, but at the time I'd started smoking at the night in 1 or 2 a.m. when I was having to work late because I was frustrated, I was stressed, I was annoyed, I was just unhappy, very, very unhappy. It was through this unhappiness that I connected with some people. Some people were going through the same thing as me. And if you're going through that, I feel for you. It's not a fun place to be. Not really know who you are, not really know why you're doing anything, and being unhappy throughout it. And just sticking in that unhappiness because you don't know how to change things. You don't know how to take a step in the direction you want to go because you don't really know what your direction is. And when you try a direction, you look for external validation of that choice. And you say to yourself, is this right? Well, my parents don't like it, and my brother doesn't like it, and my friends don't like it, so how can I possibly do something that no one else likes? Which is what happened for me in relation to psychology and human behavior. I loved it at school, and my parents said, you know, the only real job you're going to get from that is being a psychiatrist, and it's mentally challenging to be a psychiatrist. Why don't you go into finance instead? That's where the big bucks are. I didn't follow my dreams because I saw value in what they were saying, and somehow I wanted to please them so that they would then... he's asleep now. So, coming back to the story, being frustrated, being unenamored, actually disenfranchised, losing your power over what it is you really want to do with your life, and becoming a bit of a seeker. It was at that time that a friend of mine, Matt Hurl, gave me a book, or told me to get a book. It was Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Work Week. And that was the inspiration for the Thai Triangle business. Because in that book, it was all about finding a niche, finding a product around the £50, $50 mark, outsourcing everything. Logistics, website building, management, accounting, all of that stuff outsourced. So you only have to work 4 hours a week. That was the concept. Sounds great. Can you do it like that? Well, yes, with the caveat that you probably need to have studied that book very deeply and or had experience doing it before, so you don't have to learn the ropes, make the mistakes of saying to yourself, I can do this, even though you should outsource it. This book changed my life. It shifted paradigm to say, I don't have to live this corporate career life. I don't have to take the stepping stones that all of my friends are taking. I don't have to do and live the life that my parents had lived. And it's possible that it's not right for me. I needed data sets. I needed a data point to prove that it was possible. And he was that point for me. And he was living the life that I could quite happily say I would love to live. Traveling, taking months off, doing the things you want to do, all the while doing something you're passionate about, and therein finding that you're not working anymore, living and loving your life. And so this is where I find myself today. It's a Thursday. I'm currently working 2.5 days a week at Gogglessock as I transition away from an employee role, and I focus more on myself, my new family, little Benji boo, my lovely wife, LA, and creating this life that I love. Creating this life that I go to bed excited, and I wake up even more excited to think I can't wait for the things that are on my agenda today, rather than that Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening dread that the week was coming and the weekend was too short. Whoever made up the rule that it's supposed to be 2 out of 7 days off is mad, and actually it's against my religion to have anything less than 3 days off a week. So now I can say that it's taken a lot of transition to step into this life. It's taken a lot of allowing and giving myself approval to actually live this life that I want to live. There's a part of me that still says I should be working, or I should be inside, or I should be staying longer at Gogglesocks, or I should be getting another job, or blah, 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 all the shooting all over myself. Once I've started to really accept and give myself this permission to live my life in the way I want to live, I actually create so much space and so much opportunity that it's been amazing what's coming out of this. This morning I just finished a call with the Project Kairos group from the Rich Litvin coaching program, a group of about 30 amazing and inspiring individuals who are further down this coaching path than me. And it's amazing to really see people and experience people who I can solemnly say that they love what they do. They're living the dream they want to live. One of the guys' examples today was he took one of his clients on a coaching session on a fighter jet, and he was coaching him on the jet as they flew over the mountains. And the next day he did it in a helicopter with another client. And these kind of experiences really excite me, because something that I've been brewing on is a rich walks and talks idea. I'm starting to understand that I'm a storyteller, and I've got some stories which some people resonate with, some people don't. In a group setting, I'm not the one to be sitting there and telling stories. On an individual setting, I love sharing my understanding of the world and hearing what other people's is, so I can learn and I can grow. Yeah, that explains a little bit about why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I don't really know how it's going to transform. I don't really know how it's going to evolve. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. But what I do know is there's something that's calling me to start sharing. There's something that's calling me to start getting myself into the spotlight and really getting some reps in of the courage muscle, getting some reps in of believing in myself. Because you have to start somewhere. You look at any of the famous people within the coaching space and within the influential space, like Gary Vee or Tim Ferriss or Tony Robbins, they all started somewhere. And the fact is that they started. They made that first step into the unknown. They took it. And when you take that step, you don't need to know or see all of the steps in front of you. All you need is a compass and a bearing. And that bearing is what I'm calling your North Star. And that direction is your golden path. To understand where the golden path comes from, you need to identify and uncover your golden thread. The golden thread being a certain set of events and things that have happened in your past life which actually identify your future potential and opportunity. These things being how you behave, your human designs, your mindset, your failures, your successes, what you've loved doing, what you haven't loved doing, what people have paid you for, and also what things have you seen that you've thought, I'm really jealous of that person's job. Because jealousy is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just your soul saying, there's something that person does that I would love to do. And depending on what you do with that energy is what makes it a good or bad feeling. Here we are, we've just reached the edge of the water. The river's coming around. It's all blurry because I'm in cinematic mode, but it's beautiful. This energy and identifying what your body is trying to tell you is so powerful. What I'm understanding over these last few years is how to really uncover what that energy is trying to tell you, and how to really start allowing that energy to flow rather than push it down, as I used to do for so many years. I would very much not listen to my gut, not listen to my feelings, not listen to my anxieties and worries and fears and say, life's hard, you have to do it. My mum said to me once, if life's good 50% of the time, then that's great. That's a good life. And what I'm starting to understand is that was this mindset that came out of the war times. Now we live in a new era. With that comes a new lease on life. And that new lease tells us life can be 110% amazing all the time. And now when I say amazing, that doesn't mean there's not ever going to be bad things happen to you, or at least perceived bad things. But what it means is you can have a childlike interpretation of everything. And when you have this shift in your mindset back to a child, suddenly you release this childlike joy and fun. You see children running around and just happy to play with sticks. And then you see people who have all the toys in the world, they're not very happy. The other thing I want to talk about is what space does spirituality have in the workplace? What space does the formless energy that holds all atoms and particles and the world together have in being a tangible pillar of building a business? 20, 30 years ago, you'd tell someone about using psychology in business and they'd think you're off your rocker. Today, the same thing is happening with spirituality. It's not mainstream. People don't understand it, and it's very, very stigmatized to the extent that people won't even be open to explore it because they already have the belief that it's not worthwhile, it's stupid, and it's woo-woo. Life is an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to approach something with a beginner's mind. And when you're open to the possibility that what you currently understand is not truth, it's your truth, you can start to see things in a whole new light. And for me, that really started when my wife gave me a Reiki treatment. Reiki is a form of energetical healing, which you can or you don't have to actually have any physical touch with the person you're giving the treatment to. Instead, you connect with the Reiki energy and your body becomes the channel for that energy, kind of like a radio tower. I had a treatment. I'd felt anxious, I'd felt worried and stressed and concerned, and she gave me a treatment. And at the start, I was stressed, and at the end, I was relaxed. And it wasn't the same relaxation as having a physical oil massage or Swedish massage. It was a deep sense of calm. It was a deep emotional relaxation. And that emotion literally meaning energy in motion, it can get stuck. And there's ways of healing it, which comes to spirituality. And for me, it means connection with yourself. And I'm gonna have a look at these little fishies here, because there's lots of them. And back to what spirituality actually means. It means a connection with self. It is a connection with you. And you, or I, being a experiencer of this physical 3D experience. It's interesting to reflect on who you or I am. And actually, you are not who you think you are. Am I today a 31-year-old man, husband, father, or am I the 5-year-old who grew up in the UK? Am I the 21-year-old who went to get a job in finance? Or am I actually the experiencer, the soul that is experiencing that experience? I have this other analogy of your ego being the physical self that came onto this earth when you were born, carrying a torch, and that torch being your flame, your inner flame. And that inner flame is your soul. And as you grow up, the little guardian, who's the physical body in that analogy, he does everything he can to protect the flame, because he knows it's divine, he knows it's special, he knows it's out of this world and not of this world, but it is in this world. But he actually doesn't know. As a whole, he is a spiritual person having a physical experience. What he does know is that it's dangerous out there. There's threats, there's perceived risks of death, of rejection, of abandonment, humiliation, all of these things that would risk the continuation of your physical self in this lifetime. This experience he only knows from birth to death. And so spirituality is the connection with the inner flame. It is connection with the source of that flame, which is the same energy that is what love is. It's the same energy as what light is. It's the same energy as what holds all of the molecules in this leaf together. And it's the same energy that charges that leaf to grow. It is an energy that is unlimited, totally abundant, totally flowy. But the ego doesn't know that. The ego believes all that there is this one torch, this one flame. And so it has to protect it. And so in that protection, there is a sense of lack. There is a sense of potential loss. And so he does everything he can to make sure it's protected, and also to make sure that it's having a pleasurable experience. Spirituality comes down the pathway. The first step is self-awareness, self-actualization, realizing that you're divine. The second step is connecting with your subconscious, because your subconscious is the bridge between the spiritual world and the conscious being the awareness that you have as this spiritual being in this life of what's going on around you. It is the now, it is this moment, it is this view on life. And it's a very complicated view, which must be filtered in order for your brain not to explode. You imagine, oh, little boo, you woke up. You imagine the fact that you consciously don't fully comprehend the universe, and yet you try to make sense of what you do understand, and you try to continually find answers to your questions. But in doing that, you create a map or a territory. In NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, there's the concept of the territory, affairs, the state of being that you understand and you're aware of. That in relation to what the actual territory is, which is far greater than your map, because your map, you only have it as it's 2D, and you don't have all of the layers to it. Oh, my breath. Breathe. I'm very unfit right now. Starting taking better care of myself, but got the daddy pounds. So this awareness going down this line of consciously being open, connecting with your subconscious to then cross the bridge into the formless, limitless soul and higher dimensional realm is what spirituality is. It is coming inward rather than outward. It is realizing that nothing external ever impacts you. What impacts you is the internal perspective of that, of whether or not you perceive it in a certain way. Same goes for pain and suffering. There's some people who can do some amazing feats walking over hot burning coals, but they've trained their mind to not perceive it as painful. This shows you the power of the human mind to decide its reality for itself. And actually it's a tool, a very, very powerful tool, an ancient tool that we don't fully understand. I'm enjoying my journey so far of trying to explore it, trying to understand it, because I've spent a lot of my life in the unknown, in the not believing, and in the box paradigm. Come off movie mode, try out this other mode. We're going to continue this rich walks and talks. Imagine you're beside me. Imagine you've allowed yourself to move to Canada, start a new life, and I'm taking you on a walk to describe my understanding of the world, because that's my gift. That's my specialty. I'm able to identify and see things in others and in the world that they don't see, and I'm able to inspire and tease out the opportunity within that. And when I explain my understandings of it, For some reason, I have that understanding, whether it's a wisdom that's been passed down from past lives, or whether it's a wisdom that I've generated from source, that is, I can share my understanding of the world. And that's what the journey that I'm really attracted to right now. It's a journey of spiritual discovery. It's a journey of exploring who I am, exploring what the human experience is, exploring what the spiritual experience is, and exploring the joy of being on earth and being in this lifetime. There's a quote from Magenta Pixie, who is a channeler in the UK, and she says that heaven is on earth. And I take that to mean we have the choice to experience this as heaven, or we have the choice to experience this as something else, or hell even. And for some people, this is an experience of hell. For whatever reason, they have been dealt the set of cards, which means, for example, they're a refugee, or they're born into slave labor, or they have to go through some horrific events in this lifetime in order to heal something their soul wanted to heal. And this exploration is something that I've been doing for the past 2 or 3 years significantly. And really, I've been doing this for the past 10 years without really knowing that that's what I'm doing. And this exploration is the thing that really lights me up. This understanding of the world and knowing that there is a deepness to it, there is a richness to it, which we don't perceive, we're not told about, and it is there. And I now have people who are my role models, who are living this aligned life, being true to their flame, being true to themselves, and they're experiencing heaven on earth. They're experiencing wealth, happiness, joy, fulfillment, love daily. And that's the journey that I'm on. And that's the journey I've been on my whole life. But I've kind of been going around playing in the kiddies play area on the swings, thinking that that's the joy of life, swinging around and jumping on the trampoline. Whereas actually, the joy of life is outside of us. It's here, it's in nature. I believe the joy of life is outside. It's not sitting behind a computer. It's not earning an extra $1 million. It's not trying to improve your status. It's not trying to gain validation from other people. It's to uncover an unconditional love for yourself and for everybody else. It's as simple as that. LA, my wife, was always telling me what life is all about is that unconditional love. We are unconditional love. God is unconditional love. God is not a being who forsakes people. It's very egotistical to believe that a God would actually want to punish somebody, because really you punish yourself. You punish yourself in this lifetime and through your karmic debts that you build up, your karmic energy that you build up. I'm starting on this journey, and this journey starts here in Squamish, Canada. It starts here at me being 31 years old and having my whole life ahead of me, having a whole life behind me, and knowing that being in the present moment at any point in the future or now is exactly where I need to be. And in that present moment, knowing that I have a connection to being eternally grateful, peaceful, fulfilled, loving. And it all starts with myself. It all starts with my own personal growth. And if I don't do the love on myself now, I used to call it the work, but Shaman Durek's book inspired me to shift that perspective of doing the work to loving on yourself, loving yourself so much that you do affirmations and you want to shift your life. Because work, who wants to really work? No one wants to work. You might say you like work, but do you really? Do you really, really? Anyway, I'm on this journey to explore myself, to explore what it means to have this experience and live a rich life. And this journey is going to take me to a lot of different places. And I'm super excited to be starting this now, because I'm already starting in one of the most beautiful places in the whole world. One of the world's best kept secrets is British Columbia, on the west coast of Canada. This little area of Squamish, Vancouver, Whistler, that really is an adult's playground, an adult's Disneyland. Any sport imaginable: golf, sailing, rock climbing, skiing, biking, kayaking, climbing, walking. It's all there on my doorstep. What my journey is to uncover the spiritual world and the spiritual places around the world where I can really connect more deeply with myself, with Source, such that I can start to share messages and guidance from that in order to inspire you. And the reason why I want to inspire you is because throughout my life up to this point, I haven't known who I am. I haven't allowed myself to be who I am. I've played into this dynamic of having to be a certain way. It should be something, filtering what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what I'm saying in order that I might be more accepted. And it's tiring. It's really tiring. I ended up having a burnout as a culmination of that. And that shift since then has been amazing. And I know that my energy is going to continue to flourish as I continue on this journey, and as I start to get even more clear every day on who I am and unconditionally loving myself for all of the perfections and imperfections, for all of the self-criticism and perceived criticism, for everything, every part of myself. And when I unconditionally love myself, my cup is so full, it will overflow, and anyone who comes near me will feel that energy and will be hugged and embraced by the unconditional love. And I think that's pretty special. And that's why I'm going on this journey, because I love helping people. I also love helping myself and living an amazing life. And so now I'm finding this alignment between those two, which manifests as rich walks and talks, manifests as speeches, visualizations, meditations, podcasts, books, coaching. All of these things are totally aligned with who I am and what I represent. I can't wait. The little boo has got his little hat on, super stylish sailor dude. And yeah, here we are. And the final thing I want to share, taking these videos, sharing them, is something that I would never have dreamed of before. Today I haven't felt scared doing it because I'm recording it, pre-recorded, and somehow I can be myself. And as you might notice, I've got a very calming energy by the way I talk. I see a lot of people out there online who have big energies. They want to dazzle you with the words they say and their emotions that they bring in. And I too want to do that, but in my own unique way. I love having fun. I love bringing positivity into groups of people and seeing an optimistic perspective on life. And I want to bring that to you. I want to bring that to myself. I want to bring that to the whole world. I want to raise the consciousness of the world. That's my goal. It means that you rise up the emotional spiral from being in spaces that I was in: guilt, shame, anxiety, fear, self-loathing, rising up through self-acceptance, happiness, joy, compassion, empathy, and being in a state of raised consciousness, as Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks described on the chat with Wayne Dyer. It's kind of like a disc, a high-flying disc. And when you're on that disc, you kind of have a bungee cord attached to yourself. And you might fall off the disc from being in a very high emotional, energetical, conscious state of joy and happiness. You might fall off. You might come down. You might start feeling worry and fear and guilt. But the more you love yourself, the more elastic that springy bungee cord is to pull you back up back up to the top space of joy and love, the more you operate in the lower levels of guilt and sadness and worry and fear, and the more you allow that your life to continue like that, the less elastic it becomes and the harder it becomes to get back up. It's always possible to come back up. It's always possible to reconnect with your flame. You do a meditation and you can feel it right there. The pure, unconditional love. It's my journey to get to that point of bliss, vitality, of joy. That's my gate 38 in my human design of my life's work. It's the way I do things. I do them with joy and vitality. I bring energy, but my own energy. I don't bring the, let's go, let's do this. You gotta go and sign up today. Kind of, I'm gonna stereotype American way of doing things. You know, I think of some people who I've been following of Tony Robbins, who has his own very powerful, very assertive and confident energy and doesn't take bullshit and cuts through bullshit, to someone like Marcel Klein, who has understood the power of emotional communication such that he's a hypnotist expert, NLP expert, and success coach. And he uses a very, again, forceful masculine drive to really propel people through his own emotional flame that you can feel the intensity of. Whereas for me, I have a bit more of a feminine energy, a bit more of a, not effeminate, a feminine energy, meaning that I am softer, I am compassionate in a very calming and nurturing way. And it also means that I have a ability to connect with Mother Earth. And finding that balance between the masculine and the feminine is to find the Taoist principle of the way, of the Tao. That balance, that little thin line between masculine and feminine, where it's not a balancing act, it's a beautiful blend. It's like a blend of sand, of two colors of red and golden sand coming together in a magical sunset. Whoops, that almost fell over.